Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to the second dev server. I was late to the party, man. I saw these dev server videos going up of other channels, and I didn't get a notification yesterday. It was just only on their Discord in the news feed, unfortunately. So I found out too late, and but I did fly it this morning. I did check out the new Air Forces. And I was expecting quite a bit because I've heard about an A10 in the regular tree for America. I've heard several other things might be coming. I heard the Chinese J-8 was coming. So I was expecting a few additions to the Air Forces in the second dev server. But I checked and I checked and I checked in all nations. And the only thing I found was this one. The Chinese J-8B. Which is a fine plane, but it is, well, I don't know, man. I mean, this dev server will stay open according to them to Saturday morning. So we'll see what is, if there's anything more that's added, but probably not. We'll have to wait for a third dev server. But the J8 for the Chinese is the only one added so far, and I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah, because that doesn't make that story... Kijk, look at that. You can now target the sun officially to shoot a missile at. Fantastic. I was laughing out loud there. That was interesting. But yeah, man. Unfortunate. I hope that the regular tree A10 will be added in the third dev server, and we'll hopefully get a look at that, which one that is and stuff like that. But if it stays like this, then we don't get that regular tree A10. And I was moaning about that, why they only added a premium one. The people in my comment section tried to calm me down and say that there would be a regular one, but apparently not yet in any case. We'll see. It's all subject to change, who knows, it might be added on live only. We'll see. Well, the Chinese J-8, man, this is the first Chinese-made fighter or interceptor in history. Before that they were relying on the Soviets to take over their design and get licensed production going of the MiGs and stuff like that. And they did it with that, but they needed a new plane for high altitude threats that the Americans had, like some of the bombers and some of the spy planes, the U-2 and all that jazz. And China didn't find a good answer for that in the Soviet planes that they could build or buy. And they decided to make one for themselves, and this J8 is the result. Now the first one they made, the J81 or A, looks quite a bit like a MiG. It has the frontal conal air intake, and it looks very much like a MiG with an old radar and stuff like that, but still the back side of the plane looks quite the same. But this one, the B, is completely different. It doesn't have the MiG conal frontal air intake. It has more Phantom-like side pods for the air intake here. It looks much more like a Phantom, and it makes it look like a beastly plane, I have to say. I quite like the looks of this plane. It looks like a fucking beast. It has two massive engines with massive thrust, and it is quite enjoyable to fly this plane. It feels very good on the controls. It has good elevator control. It seems to roll quite nicely. I am very happy with how this plane feels. And yeah, there's several setups to this plane as well that are nice, but the feeling to this plane is awesome. I'm running the 4 missile setup here, which are quite nice. The plane has a lot of power. It does lose a lot of speed when you start to maneuver with it though. There is that, and you have to be mindful of that. This plane is an interceptor. It is built for high speeds. The plane in reality could go to 2.2 Mach, and quite a fast mover on the higher altitudes. It's not as fast on lower altitudes because it was built particularly for high altitudes. It's going to be fun to see how that pans out in the game. But the Armament setups are more or less mainly for air-to-air, and you do have some setups for ground RB with some rocket options, or one rocket option and one bomb option. So there is that. You do have that option, but this plane is definitely not made for ground pounding, man. Its main setups are with the air-to-air missiles. You have the shorter range missiles and the longer range missiles. You have a well-working radar, which is nice. And you have the 23mm main gun, which is quite effective. It is high velocity firing. And you only have 200 rounds, so you run through them quite quickly. We'll have to get some practice in to lead those shots correctly, because you will run out of that ammo quite rapidly, really. And yeah, it's unfortunate that I found the dev servers quite empty when I was flying it. I mean, most of my opponents were AI planes, which is unfortunate. They don't give you the real feel, right? I mean, there were some human players in there, but not a lot. And well, we made it work, and you can see the plane work a little bit, which is good. But yeah, dev server, this happens all the time in the dev server. Like these AI pilots running their planes into the ground just like that. It was super funny. I had some laughs when it comes to that. Yeah, man, but yeah, a plane quite fast, good on higher altitudes, although of course in War Thunder the main feature doesn't happen too much on high altitude. The fighting usually takes place between 1,000 and 3,000 meters, or lower even on ground level. There's a lot of stuff going on. On high altitudes, what this plane is made for as an interceptor, it's not really happening. But yeah, man, the first Chinese-made interceptor in-game, that's quite fun. The first one was was designed in 1964, and finally got into the air in 1969. And this one was developed way later, in the 70s, I believe, and was flying in the 79, I believe, or 80s, early 80s, 79, 80, I believe was the thing. Here I made a small error. The missile gets distracted to my ally, who crosses over the view when that MiG made a corner, made a turn. Very funny. Not for the guy, and I couldn't say sorry because the chat is still disabled. And this version was flying in the late 80s, I believe. 89 was the year when they took this one into service. So it's quite a late plane, quite modern, and I believe it's still flying as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're trying to replace it at the moment, but no, I haven't read enough to be sure, but that's what I remember from what I read. But yeah, I'm quite. I like the looks of this plane. It's an awesome looker. I love the robust look of this thing, and with the two engines, it looks massive, strong, robust. It looks like a beast, basically. And I think it might be quite good. We'll see how the speed of this high altitude fighter compares to some of the stuff it will be facing. It's 11.3 battle rating right now on the dev server, so it is top tier. And we're gonna have to see how it compares to other planes as we go to live on this plane. It's not a very versatile plane, as I said. You don't have many ground pounding options, and I don't think it's something you want to do in this plane. But here we go. After the matches that I had, we did take a look a little bit in the hangar. We've got the cannon, 200 rounds, as I said. We have the armor protection, which is quite decent, 60mm steel plate and a good bulletproof glass there. We have the radar in the front with an 18km range, offensive armament with the 23mm gun, and we have the fuel spread out pretty widely, so when you get hit you might endure a fire. Two massive engines in the back, which is quite awesome. and I might show you the options as well. There's not many options, but there are decent options for air to air. And yeah, man, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.